In this video, I'm going to show you how to retarget animations in Unreal Engine 5.6, completely from scratch using one of Epic's awesome Paragon characters. But don't worry, these steps don't just apply to Paragon assets. You can use the exact same principles with any custom character mesh, whether it's from the marketplace, Mixamo, Blender, or something you model yourself. If you ever struggle with mismatched skeletons, IK chains, or animations that just don't play right, I'll walk you through the entire process. Setting up IK rigs, building chains, assigning retarget poses, and solving common issues like stock fit on animations glitches. And if this video helps, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss new tips and tools here on the Game Creator Accelerator channel. Want to go even faster and further? Join our free training, How to Become a Game Changer Video Game Creator. Visit Woolen.com to sign up and start building your dream game with consistency, clarity, support, and with the right methodology. And if you are serious about launching your game dev career, I'd love to have a chat with you. Let's talk about the Game Creator Accelerator, the lifetime mentorship program designed to guide you through your journey step by step. Now, let's get started. Okay, first things first, we are creating a new project in Unreal 5.6.0. The type will be blueprint and of course a third person. In the variant, we are selecting none. We want to start from zero, and here's the name. Create. This is the default project and you can play with this default character. Of course, you can move, jump, etc. I want to find what is the character that I control in this project by default. So I can go to the world settings, and inside the game mode, you have the default pawn class. Click here to identify the blueprints of that class and open it. Select the viewport, and inside the viewport, when you select the third person character, you can see in the details a section that refers to the mesh that we are using. In this case, the Scheme Queen Simple. You can click here and identify the skeletal mesh. Inside the template project, you also have another skeletal mesh you could use. Click on this arrow and look for SKM Mani Simple. And this is like a more male character. Compile, save, and go to the beginning of the game. And now you have this other character which looks more like a male character. I can switch between these two characters because they share the same skeleton. To look for what is the skeleton assigned to a skeletal mesh, you can right-click the skeletal mesh, look for skeleton, and click on Find Skeleton. And this is the skeleton assigned to this skeletal mesh. But if you do it with this one as well, and look for skeleton and find skeleton, you see that they both have the same skeleton. Open this skeleton, and now you can see the structure of bones. You can start with the pelvis and go to the spine, you go to clavicle, hands, and so on. Back to the blueprint, you can also see the animation class. Click here to look for that animation class, and you will see that you have a base animation for an unarmed character. You can identify the animation blueprints because it says animation blueprint, and usually because it started with ABP, animation blueprint. And you can open this as well, and this is the blueprint that controls how this character is going to move when you use the gamepad or the keyboard. What I'm going to do now is to import a new mesh into my project that doesn't share the same skeleton as these first two. And then we're going to adapt it. We're going to retarget to use the same animations that we use for this blueprint, the default blueprint for the template project. I open again the Epic Games Launcher inside the library, and at the bottom, I look for Paragon. I have several of these Paragon assets already in my library, but they are free for you. They are provided by Epic Games. I will pick one of these characters. Let's say this Paragon Wraith. The details are, of course, in the Fab platform, at least for the moment. The only challenge I have at this moment is that I cannot add that project into my project because it's 5.6, and at this moment the Paragons are supported only by the maximum version is 5.4 of Unreal. So I created an entire 5.4 empty project in Unreal so I can add this library, and then I'm going to export it to my current project. This is the project where I have the Paragon Wraith, and now right click, migrate. I'm going to select everything to make things simple for the second. And let me find the TPS I created, which is the TPA56 Retarget. Open it and be sure that you're going to add this inside the content folder. Select. Once you finish, you can see the Paragon. Here you have the Paragon Wraith character inside your project. Now let's go to the third-person blueprint, where is the character that we are using to play this game. Open again the blueprint, and let's change the skeletal mesh to use the Paragon, the new character that we added, which is a Wraith character. Click on the arrow and look for Wraith. Pick the first one, and you see that everything looks broken. Why is this happening? Because the Wraith skeletal mesh do not share the same skeletal than the original Mannequin that comes with the template of this project. That's why we're going to start the process of retargeting. To continue, let's compile here, save, go to level, and try to play the game and see that the character looks weird, looks really broken. I want to find the skeletal mesh for the new Wraith character. So open the Paragon Wraith folder, inside characters, heroes, Wraith, and you will find the blueprint for the character, which is the Wraith player character. Open it. Here is the default position, and here you have as well the skeletal mesh. Click here to find it and open the skeletal mesh. Another way to find a skeleton is clicking here where you see a skeleton. And here you have the bone structure. What is important of checking the structure of your skeleton is that you know that now you have all the bones needed for making an animation. If we go back to the BP third-person character, the default character that we have for our game, we can change the anim class because this anim class does not work for this bone structure or for this skeleton, and let's move it to none. And to make these changes take effect, compile and save. Now you see that you have the character that we imported inside the blueprint. And if I play the game, I have this small compilation errors. Let's go and click on the Wraith player character, and the reason is because we have another gameplay mechanics that I want to remove at this moment. In the event graph of the Wraith player character, I'm going to select everything and delete it. Compile and save. Back to the level, try to play. We have another error, but in this case for the anim blueprint. So let's go to the anim blueprint. If we try to compile, we have these errors. So let's check the details. Okay, here we have a section that is giving us some errors. So what I will do is to remove this entire part, compile. Now everything is working, and we continue our process. If we play our game now, you see that we have the character, but we don't have any animations. Even the jump is working, but we don't have animations. My goal is to use all the animations provided with the template. Let's go to the original mesh provided with this project, which is in Content, Characters, Mannequin, Meshes. Right-click, look for Animations, select Retargeting, and pick IK Rig. Let's call this one IK Mannequin. Open it, and this will be the inverse kinematic for Mannequin. But I have to select first what is the skeletal mesh that I will use. Click on the arrow and look for SKM Queen Simple. You can go back and see the structure of the IK for this Mannequin. To do retargeting in previous versions of Unreal, in particular for the versions 4.x, you need to go bone by bone and assigning the new retargeted name. What is beautiful about Unreal at this moment, 5.6, is that you first can auto-create the IK, and then you can auto-create the retarget chains. And this will generate automatically all this structure you're seeing here to the right. The system automatically assigns from the root to the pelvis to all the rest of the components of the bones of this skeleton and prepare it for the retargeting process. Important to mention are in the left leg, in the left leg and hands, that we have also left, let me find the hand, left hand, here it is, that we also have this IK goal, which is fundamental to make this animation work. You can also generate this step by step, but why suffer? Let's save our IK Mannequin and go back to the level third person. And now let's go to the blueprint. We have our character. Let's go to our Wraith Skeletal Mesh. And here I am also going to generate an inverse kinematic, but for this new character. As we did a second ago, right click, animation, retargeting, IK rig, and I'm going to call this one IK Wraith. Open it, and we're going to assign in the preview skeletal mesh, Wraith. Using the help of Unreal 5.6, auto-create the IK and auto-create the retarget chains. If you compare the two IK rigs, you will see that there are small differences, but at the end, the main structure of the bones, it is the same, and this is what we need to retarget the animations. Inside the IK ray, though, you have some small things that they are notifying, but at this moment are not going to affect our process of retargeting. Important to mention is that we also have the same IK goals for the left leg, left arm, right leg, and right arm. Here, left leg, left arm, right leg, and right arm. Back to our content browser, inside the mesh with Wraith, it could be in any other place, but I want to use it here. Right click, look for animation, and now pick the IK Retargeter. Call this one Retargeter, starting with RTG, and I usually use the origin of this retargeting. In my case, Mannequin. Open it. In the source IK rig asset, select the Mannequin, because this is the one with the original skeleton that we're going to use and the ones that has animations assigned to it and the blueprint animation as well. So let's pick this one. And in the target, default target IK rig, as you can imagine, will be the Wraith. If it is not clear for you to watch the animations this way, you can move the target animation to one side. So I'm going to drag this one to here. Better. You can also move it in the other coordinates, but usually we just need to move it horizontally to one side. On the left, you can see that we are running the retargeter. That should mean that if I, let's say, select one of these animations, I should see the animations for the original and the target animation, but this is not the case. The reason is because we didn't add the elements related to the pelvis motion, but Unreal 5.6 gives this option on the top, which is Add Default Ops. Click on it. And now you can see both animations one beside another, looking amazing. I can change the animation. I can go to any other animations. You can see that everyone is looking great. To remove these annoying green lines, go to Details and uncheck Debug Draw. Save the changes for this retargeter and go back to Content. We are almost done with this process. Now look for the folder of characters, mannequins, animes, and unarmed. Here you have the animation blueprint. Right-click on this animation blueprint and select Retarget Animations. We have the source skeletal mesh because by default, this is the one here. Now we can select what will be the target. And of course, it will be Wraith. But I don't want to use the auto-generate retargeter. I want to use my retargeter. So uncheck this one and look for your retarget mannequin. On the bottom, you have all the animations associated with this retargeter and the IK rigs. But you can also notice that we have the blueprint for the animation. So I'm going to select everything we have here, which are all animations that belongs to the template project, export animations, and these animations will be for the Paragon Wraith. So I will select characters, heroes, Wraith, and I will add here probably a new folder, and I'm going to call Retarget Anim. Create the folder and export. Once the process is finished, you can see that you have all the animations and you also have this animation blueprint. If I open the animation blueprint, you can also check that we have all the same animation blueprint that we use for the original template character. I will rename this blueprint animation only to differentiate from the original one. So let's call this Wraith unarmed. Now go to the BP third-person character and we'll select the ABP Wraith unarmed. Look at this. I can compile, save, and now there is one more thing I have to do to make this animation looks correct. Go to the blueprint animation we just created, open it, click the animation graph, and remove this entire section and connect the slot with output pose. Compile, save. And now let's play. Here we have our character, and now is doing the animation as it should be. You can also see that we have a small detail to fix, which is that this character comes with a default weapon. Let's solve this quickly. Let's go to the skeletal mesh of this character. Meshes and the skeletal mesh. To the right on the asset details, you can see different materials for different sections of this character. And in particular, you have one that is called Wraith Gun. If you isolate that one, you can see that it is only this weapon. So we want to change this material to be totally transparent, and we're going to create a new material to achieve that. Back inside the content browser, select the materials for the Wraith, right-click, and select Material. I miss it for a second. Call it M, Transparent. I think it could be translucent as well. Doesn't matter. Open the material, select the blend mode, translucent, keep the one key down and click, and assign the value of 0 to opacity. Apply and save. We have our transparent material. Now let's go back to our Wraith. I can select the transparent material, and you will see that we don't have the weapon any longer. Save, third person, play the game, and now we don't have the weapon, only the animation for the rest of the character. If this helped you out, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss new tutorials and motivation here on the Game Creator Accelerator channel. And remember, you can go even deeper with our free training, How to Become a Game Changer Video Game Creator After Your Daily Job. Just head over to woolon.com and get instant access. Want to move faster? Let's have a quick chat about how the Game Creator Accelerator can give you the lifetime mentorship you need to build your game and your career, even while working full-time. Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.